You're listening to the StudioPTBO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. Welcome to the latest episode. What's happening? Welcome to the StudioPTBO podcast. We are back at it again with another guest, Neil Morden, my man. What is happening? We have somebody very, very special, somebody that I'm stoked, I'm pumped up, which is why I blew the air horn. It fires up our team first thing in the morning. They either hate it or they love it, unsure. But Neil Morden, how you doing, my man? Welcome to another episode of the StudioPTBO podcast, where we talk all things marketing to help you build and grow your business online. What's happening, Neil?
Oh, it's a good day, Cody May, and that air horn goes off like every 5 minutes. But it does wake me up when I'm starting to fade a bit. So it's become a sort of a new I don't know, like almost like a mascot for us, eh, Cody?
I know it has become like it's like
we're gonna have to name it.
Yeah, I know we're gonna have to name it something. Signal, air horn,
pew, pew, pew.
Clacks on. Oh, there we go.
But we have a special guest on today. Andrew Perrie is in the house, in his house, that is. He is based out of Niagara-on-the-Lake, correct, Andrew?
Yes, sir. You got it. Wine country, baby.
Oh, lucky you, man. And do you live near a winery, or on an orchard or anything like that? Do you have your own Perrie bottles?
Actually, funny you should ask. So I did own a farm. We just moved to Old Town January, but we're right kind of behind Jackson Trigg. So walk. We walk home. We can walk. No, but actually, my wife's family does own a winery. So we do have Perrie bottles. So there's Paradiso. We actually have the same last name. So we do have Perrie bottles. So there you go.
That is amazing, man. That's amazing.
And this is cool, man. Like, we've been wanting to do this for a while. Like, originally we chatted about doing this in person, but with everything that's kind of going on in the world, the pandemic kind of put a halt on doing it in person. So but I really wanted to do this as close to a person as we possibly could. Really early on, for those that don't know, we actually did kind of one-on-one during when the pandemic first started about marketing
in a crisis.
Yeah. So we were inside of the real estate hacks group. So, before we kind of dive into marketing, branding, all that stuff that, Rebel Realty, why don't you give us a little background on who you are, what you do, kind of fill people in on who is Andrew Perrie? What does he even do? Who the heck is he? And why is he on our podcast?
Yeah. Okay, buddy. Thank you. So, just to start it off in the most general sense, I'm a realtor, but I look at real estate as any other business, and it's just that, a business. So what does that mean? It means that, even though I'm a realtor, it doesn't mean that I should be, not focusing on building a strong brand like a Coca-Cola or like a Spotify, right? So I took a different approach to building my business through referrals, massive social media presence, and then I incorporate that to help attract people not only to my brand but to Revel as the director of recruitment.
Yeah, and I have to say I really love your social media game. Your YouTube videos, Instagram posts. You're very thoughtful about it. You're very genuine about it. It feels very authentic to me. It's kind of like it kind of feels like Gary Vee style, like documenting your journey, your story. Yeah. Were you inspired anyway by Gary Vee, or where did you? So give us a little context there, and in terms of your strategy with social.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's a few people that actually, you know what? It's funny because yesterday, so we work with a videographer named Cameron, and he started doing other people's vlogs that were watching me. And then they would reach out to him and be like, "Hey man, can you do my vlogs similar to Andrew Perrie?" And then of course that's what the whole thing is about, man. It's all about bringing other people up to whatever level they want to be. And it brings the entire industry as a whole up. So anyways, he reached out to me. He's like, "Andrew, I'm so sorry, man. I'm not trying to copy you." I'm like, "Dude, are you serious? Copy me? If that was what copying means, then I'm the world's biggest copier." So it's true, right? So Gary V, in the beginning of my sales career, Grant Cardone, I kind of drifted away. We don't really see eye to eye on a few things anymore. But yeah, Gary V, Brad Lee, Ryan Serhan, I watch these guys super closely, and I mimic basically everything they do with my own spin on it. So I, from the beginning, was working on all the design myself. So I was really involved in finding exactly what worked for them and testing it out on my own socials and then tweaking it. And now I'm to the point where I've hired other people to mimic my brand and post as if I would post. So I shouldn't have said that. I do all the physical posts. Like I physically upload it myself, but I do have graphic designers that take on the actual design of each post. But yeah, I'd be nowhere if I wasn't kind of mimicking my content off those guys.
So what has that meant for you, Andrew, then, in terms of brand lift and recognition and ROI for you and your business and your associates? Sort of walk us through that, not just brand lift, but like lead generation tool, right?
Yeah, so 100%. When I first started, I've only been in the real estate game about 3 years. I think this is my 4th year. Honestly, I can't remember, but it's a very short period of time. And even when I was in my first year, I was able to get about 50% agent-to-agent referral business. And that's how I did my first year. I got some leads coming out of the gate, but for the remainder of the year, I built such a strong brand so quickly that the rest of the year was just off agent-to-agent referrals. Now, believe it or not, I am at 85% agent-to-agent referrals. So what that means is that when an agent from out of town or in a different country says, hey, I've got clients thinking of moving from or to Niagara, who's the best there? I get tagged. If they're not, most of the time they don't even have to ask it. They know now that I'm the one that they want to represent their clients. So that means a lot to me. And most people don't ever reach that amount of business from referrals ever. So I'm humbled by that, but it also takes a lot of work. So what I have done is invested a lot of time into building a brand that every time somebody closes their eyes and thinks Niagara, they see my mug. And I feel sorry for them, but it works out for me. And so in terms of ROI, I've justified it down to about 85% agent-to-agent referrals. That is in the direct correlation from how I market myself.
It's really interesting because, like you said, you have that omnipresent approach where like you close your eyes and you think, when you're talking about Niagara, you think, Andrew Perrie. So I'm really interested, like how quickly you built your brand over the last 3 years. And we work with a lot of realtors as well as a company, but we also work with a lot of just passionate, energetic entrepreneurs, which is like why we're working with you. You're a passionate, energetic entrepreneur. So I'm really curious, like what are 3 key tactics that, whether it be an entrepreneur, whether it be a marketing rep, whether it be a real estate agent, that they can actually apply inside their business in order to get to where they want to go and build their brand quickly. Like, you're looking at, like, you have a team now. So I'm really interested to hear what those 3 tactics would be in brand building.
Okay, so number 1, and this is the most important one. So the number 1 tactic that I tell everybody to start implementing right away. It's like, look, what's the most popular pages on Instagram right now? And I met this guy through you, actually. His name's Perrie. He does woodworking. He's out of Peterborough. And, he was in construction all his life. And we got added to the StudioPTBO marketing hacks group. And I met this guy and I'm bragging about how good I am on Instagram. And this guy, Perrie, comes in with his screenshot and he's doing like 100,000 views per post, basically. He's getting thousands of likes. And I went and started to investigate. And so in his title, he's a woodworker, but you don't see him posting cabinets or tables or the standard things that you would hire a carpenter or a woodworker for, right? He is popular because he creates these kind of epoxy glass, a mixture of wood, and it's so unique and it's so niched that is why his account has exploded. So to get back on track here, number one is find your niche, find what you're passionate about. In some cases, find your super niche. So for me, it was luxury. That's what I wanted people to know about me. Luxury and Niagara on the Lake. So I knew what I wanted and I doubled down on it. So self-awareness, know your niche, and double down on it. That's tactic number one. And tactic number two is once you've found that brand, or sorry, found that niche that you want to really push out to the world and double down on, you need to be consistent with that. Doesn't mean that you need to post the same thing every day. I'm not saying that because that's bad. What I'm saying is that you need to be conscious in the variety of content that you're putting out there because it must remain consistent to that niche. So find your niche, be consistent with it. And then my third one is leverage. So once you start building out your brand and you're growing your business and you're out in the field and you're selling, is now you've got to find leverage. Okay, so what are you good at? We know what you want to be an expert in, but now we need to know, okay, what of that aspect are you actually good at? But for me, yes, okay, I'm a well-known realtor here. People know that I'm very well service-oriented, but for me, that's not my overall passion. My overall passion is marketing and branding. So what I've done is I've hired a full team to help out with my buyers, help out with my clients, and make sure that they're serviced the way I would service them when I first meet them. And then that way I could focus on building a stronger brand, which in turn helps those clients in the overall anyhow.
Wow. I want to jump in here really quickly before you ask your question, Neil, because I think that anyone listening that's an entrepreneur, that is a passionate business owner, there's something that you said at the end where I think that we chat a lot about the automate, delegate, remove. You know, it's something that we've been chatting a lot about lately, about this idea that start to automate or delegate or remove non-needle moving activities so that you can focus on the thing that you're super passionate about. So if you're super passionate as a business owner about marketing, find those things that might even be needle moving activities in the business, but you're just not super passionate about, and begin to automate, delegate, or remove them. So there's something really key there that you said, in order to grow a brand, if you're not passionate about marketing, you need to find somebody who is passionate about marketing that can help you grow your business in the online space. So that's great, Neil. I'll let you take over there.
Yeah, and just the fact that you're not taking it all on yourself by delegating, but you were talking about people and building teams. Super curious to hear your lens on that, your ethos on that. How do you build teams? What do you look for in people? Because you've said on a few Instagram posts, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. So what does that look like in your world?
That's a really good question. And you've asked the right guy. And it's not because I have it super figured out. It's because I don't and I didn't. So last year, I still don't. You never do. But last year, I hired 3 guys right off the gate. I'm like, okay, you know what? I think I only did like 17 deals, and I decided to start a team. And I started this team too quickly. I started it too passively, I guess you could say, or nonchalant. We didn't take it as seriously as we should have. So there's no contracts in place. There was no systems in place. There was no job description, really, right? So we hired them on too fast. I wasn't able to service their needs as a team member, and so for that reason, I failed them and I failed myself. But what that led to was me finding out, okay, what do I need to get a team off the ground in order for them to be happy, for me to be happy, and my clients to be happy? So from there, I took, I don't know, maybe 6 to 8 months off trying to build a team. And I started from the very basics. So I found myself a full-time assistant. And that's what I think everybody needs right off the bat. Before you start to go hire, from the real estate standpoint, a buyer's agent or a listing specialist. I don't really know how to relate that to any other business or for entrepreneurs that are listening to this podcast right now. But from my perspective, what I needed was somebody to take over the majority of the administration. So if you're a business owner right now and you're feeling overwhelmed, you're trying to make sales, you're trying to clean the shop, You're trying to do this, do that, do this. I know you're supposed to, as an entrepreneur starting out, you're supposed to wear all these hats. But if you're to the point where you're not getting the business you want because you're losing clients, then you have an administration problem. And that's where you need to start first. And that's where I started first. And that led me, I made the investment. I hired a full-time administrator and my business doubled. And then I was able to properly service my new team members. And now I have a team of Amanda and Brandy and Becca. So I went from all guys to all girls. That was not intentional. That was not intentional. It's just how it worked out. And we are killing it and we're happy and, we're enjoying the process.
I love that because, what was entangled in that entire conversation about building a team with systems and processes. And I find so often that, even as a business owner myself and like even our team, there's so much noise and pressure when you don't have a plan. And there's so much noise and pressure when you don't have a system and a process in order to get to where you want to go. It's like one of my favorite people in the world, Brett Bouchard, often says, it's great to have a vision, it's great to have a mission, but what is the plan? Like, how are you going to get there? Like, what are the actions you're going to take on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis in order to kind of get there? So I'm curious, like, what were the steps that you took in order to build this team? Like, was there, obviously you hired the admin person, but how did you find the right people versus finding the people that may have not been the right people? Like, so because you've gone through kind of this journey of, finding the wrong people, which we've been there too. Me and Neil have been there. We've hired the wrong people. And we know that when we find the right people, the business grows. When we have the systems, the business grows. When we have the processes, the system grows. I'm curious to know how do business owners, how do real estate agents that are looking to grow a team find the right people that fit in with their within their ecosystem, within their world?
And to add to that, Andrew,
yep,
I'm sorry, to add to that, how are you able to hit pause? Because it seems like you said, full stop here, I'm going to recalibrate. So add that to your answer as well, because not everyone can do that, or maybe they can and they don't know it. Thanks.
Well, when we hit pause, it was more, I wouldn't say it was a pause. It was like I was driving down the street at 100 kilometers an hour and I smashed into a wall. Because basically we had a team meeting and everybody on my team was like, fuck it, I quit. And they're like, oh, that's what they basically, right? I mean, I had some indication that maybe I should let go one or two people and trim it up a little bit, but they had this feeling long before I did and came to me first. So it wasn't an intentional thing like, okay, let's put a pause. It was more of we were forced to pause. But again, that was one of the best things that could have ever happened in my business. And then to go back to Cody's question. So how did I find the right people? Honestly, I don't even know if I found the right people yet. I feel good about the choices I've made. And so far it's working great, but I'll take you through the process. What I did was I put an ad out. I didn't advertise it. I didn't put any budget behind it. I just wanted to go to my own community first. So I emailed my office and then I also posted on my Facebook. I got over probably 20, 30, 25 people in the first couple of days that really were interested. They were seeing what I was doing online and they wanted to be a part of it. And I got some responses from our office. We ended up going with 2 realtors from our office. In that ad, and I think this is kind of what you're looking for here, Cody. In that ad, I said, I'm looking for a self-sufficient realtor in the business, minimum 3 years, has, some ability to run their own content, yada, 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 point, blah, blah, blah. And what we ended up going with were 2 realtors who were self-sufficient for sure, but were still in the point of their career where, they could really use me to help boost them in terms of, contracts, marketing, branding, everything that goes along with becoming a realtor. But those realtors, one was only in the business 2 years. So it wasn't about sticking to my point. It was about sitting down with somebody, finding out their goals, finding out my goals, seeing how they aligned and if they aligned together, and then using my gut or my intuition to kind of make a decision from there. So the first 2 people I sat down, great on paper. We just didn't work well together. And I could see that being an issue. And, the next one was great. The next 2 were not so much. And then, by the the last one, which who did we go, was Brandy. I was super excited. I was only going to go with one person, and I ended up hiring two, Amanda and Brandy.
Wow.
And we're very happy with what we did. And then here's the next kind of step. So the next step is we didn't tell anybody. We didn't, I didn't even tell my mom. We were talking about this pre-podcast. She's my biggest fan, right? She didn't even know about it. But no, we did it. Yeah, we did about a 30-day trial to see if we're going to work well with my business, and am I going to be a good fit for them? Yeah. And here we are, almost 2 months in, and we've released the news that we're a full team now.
Yeah, and I like that you said you're happy and content with your team, but you're constantly evaluating, and that's what Cody and I too. We've been talking a lot lately, sort of Cody and I, about it's almost like a sports team. We're competing, right? And we always want to be the best. And there's this real hybrid when you're running a business between being a family and a sports team. And give us your sort of ethos on that. Yeah, no, that's a good question. It's something that, and this is where I struggle. I was, district manager with LA Fitness, and I was running multiple sales teams, and that was easier for me to be stern, stick to my guns, and be like, this is what we need to do, get it done. If it's not done, we always are reevaluating. And in real estate, and now that I've kind of run my own show, I've become a little bit softer. And so we had a team meeting this week, and I'm trying to implement, and this is a true story. I was trying to implement, an increased split, and I was trying to implement a few other things that I wanted done, because I noticed in the first 30 days, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see the mistakes that I made in the first go, and this is why we took this break. This is why we're always constantly evaluating. My budgets are up here. Just to service the entire team. And so I need to increase these splits. You should have seen me in that meeting. I was like, hey guys, I know it's been 30 days in, but I'm spending a lot of money right now, right? And I just didn't handle it well. And I knew after that meeting, and they were like, oh my God, Andrew, don't worry about it. We completely understand where you're coming from. So this is where I'm like, hey, you know what? Being a leader, being a friend, and being somebody that needs to be in control of their business is two different worlds. And yes, it's okay to be somebody's friend, and it's okay to say you're a family, but when push comes to shove, you have to stand up for your business. And you know what? Thanks to that meeting and thanks to their encouragement, I know exactly how I'm going to be handling it differently next time.
Everything I think is just a learning experience. I think Neil and I can echo that, we've made some bad hiring decisions, but we've made some great hiring decisions. So it's interesting that what's wrapped up in all of that is you have to fail forward. It's if you screw up, then it's use it as a learning experience in order to do it better next time. And I think that's something that, I'm really hearing, and I really appreciate, when it comes to you're kind of transitioning from the conversation of team building back into kind of marketing, I'm curious what you see as effective marketing in 2020, because we see a lot of realtors, a lot of business owners do traditional means like door knocking, cold calling, a lot of these things that they work, they work, but they're a lot more difficult now. Obviously going to networking events is not possible. There are no networking events. So to you, what does effective marketing look like in this environment that we're living in right now? What does that look like? What are you implementing? What are you doing? And how is it working?
Good question. Talked to me a year ago. I'm still going to answer it the same. I think documenting and building relationships through video marketing, and we might have talked about this on the last podcast, but think about everybody here who's listening could probably connect with Robin Williams in some way. And when he passed away, how did you feel when you heard those news? It was terrible, right? It was devastating. And why? I've never met Robin Williams, but he's been inside my home. He's been in front of my face via TV shows and movies, right? And that's how I connected with him. I've built that relationship through somebody so strongly that I've never even met before. So take that into your business and put it in perspective. How can you connect with your audience and build those relationships so that you become the obvious choice when people are thinking real estate or to hire your business? And one of the ways, because there's so much noise, people see through crap. If people see through the corniness, and people can tell when you're being disingenuous, right? So what's the best way to break through noise? Yes, Gary Vee says document over create. And that's what I do. I document, I create. I take what he's saying, but I implement my own thing. So I document and I create. And I find that I've connected with so many people around the world just because they're watching my journey. So if anybody out there listening to this podcast, if you could take away one thing from this answer, it's let people see the real you in a professional manner. So I talked about this on my big Facebook post that it blew up like 500 likes. And I was talking about my tattoos, and I was talking about self-awareness. Look, I am not covering up myself in order to hide who I am. I am being realistic about what works. Nobody cares about your political views. Nobody cares about your opinions on things. But what they do care is that you can be true to yourself while being a professional. So document, be a professional, show the real you, be vulnerable at times, but at the same time, you need to be conscious of what you're putting out there.
Yeah, I agree, Andrew. And what Cody and I always say is we create comfort food by being the real you for prospective clients or consumers, because, the fact is you're trying to obviously draw in people who are like you. So you're actually going to wean people that aren't like you. So it works beautifully, because really you've already built this relationship before you even work with a client where you feel like you really have synergies and a similar sensibility toward life. I know we have to finish up here soon, Cody, but I have to ask, Andrew, is there ever going to be $1 million listing Niagara on the Lake, and will you be one of the stars?
Man, see, that's amazing. And that's one of the reasons why I market the way I market. Anybody who knows me knows that my end game and if you really know me, there is no end game with me. It's always something. But my biggest goal is to create that Ryan Serhant brand, that Andrew Perrie larger than life kind of brand that, helps build other realtors up as well as service their clients. And one of the ways that I would feel so fulfilled by doing that is having my own show or being a part of something very similar. And I'm working on something right now as a pilot to help pitch to the networks. And, and that's a big goal, man. I think buying the View Niagara, $1 million listing Niagara would do amazing.
I feel it, man. You'd be great on the show. Like, I feel the vibe, and that's why I asked it. I was only being half sarcastic. I assume that was your goal. So that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. You see, you got it.
Yeah. Andrew, man, really appreciate your time today. Really appreciate your insight about business, entrepreneurship, about building a team. And, if somebody were to want to reach you, where is the best place that they can find you, especially if they're in the Niagara area and they want to hire you to actually list their home or to buy with you? Where can they reach you? Where's the best place to find you?
So the best place to reach me is Instagram at @Perrie. But I'm really trying to grow my YouTube. So please find me on YouTube and subscribe, and I'll follow you back, and we can connect with each other on that platform. God, why is YouTube so hard to freaking
I know. YouTube is harder now. We're live on YouTube right now, and it's tough. It's
a grind. And get on TikTok too if you're not already. It's blowing up for me. I love it. And
I'm trying.
You're gonna get so many clients by being on TikTok, man. Real estate hashtag, it's blowing up. So be the first in your market too. But man, Andrew, this was awesome.
Yeah, this was great. Andrew, thank you so much for your time. And thank you for tuning into the StudioPTBO podcast. If you're a passionate, energetic entrepreneur that's looking to grow, scale your business in the online space, love you having you inside the StudioPTBO Marketing Hacks group. We have over 700 people in there now, so it's super exciting. Neil and I are actually working on doing kind of a new beta version of what was called Fireside Chats, working on something new where we can just provide massive value inside of there. There's a free business course in there as well. Love to see you inside that group. Just search StudioPTBO Marketing Hacks group on Facebook. Andrew, thank you so much once again.
Thanks, for tuning in. Appreciate it.
And thank you for tuning into the StudioPTBO podcast. We will see you soon.